All right, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time of day it is in your part of the country. Welcome to More on the Road with Bernard Moore the third, presented to you by More and More Sports Management. Nothing but more is what we are all about. We have a treat for you. We're here live at Hinds Community College, one of the largest community colleges in the state of Mississippi. Rich history from academics to athletics to community improvement to things around from Warren County, Hinds County, and Rankin County. It's a lot of excitement here working college, being a student, a scholar at Hinds Community College. It is so much going on with Hinds Community College. They have the Allied Health Center. They have I think they're getting something into and with law enforcement. I saw something with that as well. And the educators, again, it's a lot to do at Hinds Community College. They have one of the best early childhood programs in that I feel that's in the state because I've known many individuals that have started daycares or worked at daycares or childcare centers that came through Hinds. And some of our seasoned adults, they've had opportunities to come back to Hinds and obtain their associate's degree and again open up childcare facilities or partner up with someone. So it's a lot going on at Hinds. And joining me today is the athletic director of Hinds Community College. He took some time out of his schedule to join us today. Nathan Whitmire, thank you for joining us today, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Now, this is going to your third year at Hinds. How has it been? You know, some people when they celebrate their anniversaries, the first year is I got to get my feet wet. Second year is more of introducing stuff. The third year is that year.
Yeah.
So how has it been for your third year?
It's been good. It's hard to believe that it's been 3 years already since I think we had our first conversation my first year.
Yes.
When you came by and did this, so it has flown by. It's hard to imagine that it's already been 3 years time, and we'll be having your anniversary conversation a few years road. But I don't have any hair, so you can't tell how much more gray it's probably gotten in the last 3 years. But the beard shows it a little bit. But it's been great. It's been the first year is really about learning everything. The second year is about continuing to learn and then trying to put together some plans and some ideas for what we can do in the future. And year three is really about trying to implement those plans. And 4 and 5 are really about trying to see those plans come to fruition and really take off and implement themselves. So it's 3 years has flown by. There's still, we've done a lot of stuff in 3 years, but I think there's a lot of stuff we still can accomplish to make this place better in the future.
Now, and you talk about the things that you've done so far. I see that the campus is getting a facelift.
Yeah.
No, especially here in Hinds and Bryan, Mississippi, this is the main campus.
Yeah.
Much that you have your satellite campus in Rankin County, a few in Rankin County, 2 in Jackson with the early childhood, the Allied Health, and you have a few in Warren County. But Raymond is the main campus. Now, see, again, they doing a lot of work right there soon, the entrance, a facelift, some display boards, all that.
Yeah, it looks really good. The sidewalk project, which is really a project that's been in the works for maybe 5 or 6 years, even before I got here, and it's just finally gotten completed. Put new sidewalks up and down Hinds Boulevard with some new street lighting, a couple display boards out front at the 4-way stop. It's made a big impression on the campus and the community of Raymond with how good it looks with the new grass, the lights and sidewalk and the fencing and the new great Renee T. Warren Field's got the new ticket plaza out front. This year for baseball and softball, it's got nothing but compliments. It makes access to those two fields a lot easier. You don't have to walk over hills, and there's nice sidewalks out there. So it's coming together. It's looking really good. And they put the new display board and sign up at the 4-way. We've got our new scoreboards that went up and other things that are happening for athletics on the campus.
Now, with that, I know, like I said, I travel through here a lot. So I'm constantly going through here and have to deal with the construction. Have to stop and go because of the construction workers are going back and forth as well. How has that affected any with attendance, with the baseball games, with the football games, or any other extracurricular activities on campus?
Not really. I can't speak for any other extracurricular activities. I can speak for from the athletic side that it's really not hurt our attendance at games for football and soccer and baseball and softball, which you're predominantly your outdoor sports that happen here in Raymond. Uh, the construction is it's just kind of something you had to live with while it was going on, but everybody knew that the end goal was going to be such an improvement and so much nicer than what we had in the past that um, there's really a small price to pay for what the end product is now. You can see it's nice. It looks great. It's fully functional, and um, we just knew that we'd have to suffer for a little while through the construction. And I'm sure there are a lot of we live in a short attention span society and immediate gratification society that we want things done now and quickly, and a lot of times we're not patient with things, but the sidewalk project has taught us patience and how to deal with those certain factors. But it turned out really well. Um, it's finished now, so when you look back on it, it did take a couple of years to complete. We had to live through it. No fences at baseball and softball last year. Really hard to corral people to get them to go through the ticket gate. But we had the new ticket gate all year this year, so it's been wonderful.
Now, with the updates to the facility, you see the success of the baseball and softball team. Are they still continuing to play? And the playoff, I saw that
Yeah,
the softball team advanced as well as the baseball
yeah,
team. So,
yeah. We need to talk about softball because softball is softball. If people are not paying attention to Hinds softball right now, this is the second best season that softball's ever had in fast pitch softball. So in the early '90s, they switched from slow pitch to fast pitch, uh, which is a big difference in how the game is played.
yeah.
Um, so fast pitch softball, this is the second most wins that they've ever had since the early '90s. So there are 32 wins. Um, just to kind of grasp the difference in how they are. Last year they had 9 wins. This year they've got 32 wins and they're tied for third in the conference. The amount of turnaround that they've had in one year uh, is mind-boggling. And sometimes I don't believe it, but Coach G and his staff, Plummer, Megan Robinson, and Madison Monson, they're the way they recruited. They've changed a lot of things. They've really gelled as a coaching staff, and it's really shown this year that they play so well. Those kids are so well prepared. Um, they don't back away from difficult situations. They'll go down a couple runs, and then they'll come back, and they'll get those runs back, and then they'll take the lead. They play so well together, and they're fun to watch. They can hit the ball far. They can play small ball. They've got good pitchers. They've got good defense. They're catching balls that we would never have caught last year. So softball is incredibly fun to watch. So they've made the playoffs. They will play Friday at 6 o'clock at Olin, weather permitting. We're already in discussions about if we're going to have to push the games back to Saturday, Sunday, Monday, because I think there's some weather coming in Friday. But they bypassed the region play-in. They're in the region tournament. They're the number 5 seed in the region tournament, so it's going to be really fun. So I encourage everybody to go watch, follow along on our social media platforms, and follow how they're doing, because the top 2 teams from this region will go to the national tournament in South Carolina. So we're guaranteed 2 spots in the national tournament at least. We could get a third team in, and we're already tied for third. So there's a real good shot if they play well, and they come in second or first in the region, they could make it to the World Series, which is they've never been to the World Series.
No.
So this could be something huge this year that happens.
Now, with the success of the softball program, has that helped boost the morale around athletics. Hey, we need to rally behind around the softball team as well as the baseball team because of the success, even the success of the football program. They may have had opportunity to play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Has that built the morale around athletics, the support from the community as well as the student body and the staff at Hinds Community College?
Yeah, it has and it hasn't, if that makes sense. There have been more people at games. There's been some more support around campus that I've noticed in the last couple months with softball, some excitement. But really, they've really flown under the radar, and it's just not until the last couple weeks that we've really turned around and said, man, softball's really stinking good. I don't think we're giving them the recognition that they deserve with how well they're doing. But we it's almost like we expected it to happen with how they planned things out last year and how they really changed things. We sat down and said, okay, well, we sat down with G before the season and talked about, what are your expectations for the season? And he said, I think we will make the playoffs. I think we'll be in the top 5 in the conference because they've got the talent to do it. But we kind of looked at it and we're like, well, that's a big change from last year. You finished, I think, last in the conference, only 9 total wins. But he was really excited about what he had talent-wise for the season and his coaching staff, how well they were working together, and it's really shown how well they're doing.
Now, with recruiting, and I know especially in the Jackson metro area, which is one of the largest area in Hinds County, largest city in Hinds County, softball is not a big thing. Fast pitch nor slow pitch. So you sometimes have to step outside the boundaries. I know Clinton has a decent softball program. Raymond, which is in your backyard, has a nice softball program. And then you step off into Warren County and Rankin County. Brandon, I want to say they're playing in the playoffs
Yeah.
This year in softball. So has that been kind of difficult recruiting locally, and you sometimes may have to step outside the boundary?
Sometimes I think sometimes it's difficult, and this goes across all sports, not just softball. It's difficult to bring in those in-district kids because number one, you're competing against some of the high school facilities that you've got to compare yourselves to. So if you get a kid from a really impressive high school, they may not want to go to a school that might not have such good facilities as their high school did. So as high schools are improving their facilities, we've got to improve our facilities as well. And you've got those kids that there's nothing you can do about it. They want to go away from home. There are times when we've had a Raymond High School kid, a Terry High School kid, a Clinton High School kid that is really, really talented and ends up going to a different junior college in the state of Mississippi. And we get the questions of, well, how come you couldn't land that kid? I mean, well, we recruited him or her. We tried really hard. Mom and dad wanted them to come to Hinds, but they want that college experience of, I want to get away from home and really experience college. And there's really nothing we can do about that. That happens all the time. You don't really want to live close to home. You maybe want to go an hour or 2 away and kind of spread your wings and get away from home. So those are the kind of things we fight with in recruiting. But if you go back to softball, we get a lot of kids from outside of Hinds County. We get a lot from Rankin County and Warren County. And then you go outside the district. We've got a couple kids from the coast that other schools passed on. Then we've got a good connection with schools in Louisiana. We're allowed, I always, don't quote me on this, I always get them.
Okay.
We're allowed a certain amount of out-of-state kids. So Coach G and Plumber have a good relationship with some people in Louisiana, so they get kids from Louisiana or Texas. So it's, Mississippi's not a softball state, but there are good, talented kids in the state that you go to the Division II World Series, Colin and Jones were playing each other for the national championship last year. The last 2 teams standing were 2 Mississippi teams. And they'd already beaten each other up in the Region 23 tournament. So it just shows you how good softball is in Mississippi with these kids.
Yeah. again, just this is more on the road with Bernard Moore the third, presented to you by more and more sports management. Nothing but more is what is our slogan. That's what we enjoy doing. I thank God for the technology creators or what they do. Like I said, more on the road. I can travel around anywhere, but hey, I down here in Raymond, Mississippi, on the campus of Hinds Community College, talking with Coach Nate, talking about athletics and some of the improvement that they've made here on campus is beautiful. Now, I'm gonna get into this, so I know you probably heard it before. Coach Murphy, Coach Gene Murphy, you know, he was here when I was finishing up my time in high school, and he came into school, wanted me to attend Hinds, and I've heard some war stories about Coach Murphy. So that's the reason why I did not come to Hinds. Now, look back at it, I wish I would have came because that would have helped prepare me for the future of my collegiate career. But I just heard his war stories, and I was afraid. I'm just gonna be honest with you, I was afraid of it. But I still ran into another. Not saying he's a troublemaker, but he was almost about tit for tat. I attended Jackson State and ran into Coach Carson, the late Coach Carson and the late Robert Hughes. So I did miss the workouts, but I just didn't hear too many stories about them. But I heard a lot about Coach Murphy, so I didn't come to Hines. But I'm kind of where I kind of wish I did. But hey, no, can't go back and change time. Now, Coach Nate, in reference to recruiting, like I said, no, being in Hinds County, you get in state with ranking and one, but now I know they kind of made some change with the junior community college recruiting. How difficult is now with all these different NIL deals and some of these scholar athletes? They looking at facilities. They don't want to go down. They want to stay at the same. Don't make a lateral move or go up facility. So is how is that going?
It's going pretty well. I think we're making some improvements and some strides in the right direction with our facilities and what we're doing. Um, we've got the new indoor facility that is going to be completed here in the next couple of weeks. Uh, it'll be one of the biggest in the state, and it's really going to help with recruiting kids, being able to have indoor practice when the weather's bad. We don't have to stop and cancel practice, so it'll be really nice to have that facility. Um, every field, baseball, softball, soccer, football, uh, all those outdoor fields have a new scoreboard. Um, so those are all updated now through different avenues of fundraising and partnerships with the college. We were able to get everybody a new scoreboard. Uh, we've got a new turf management program, not an academic program, but we've got an employee here at Hinds that is educated in turf management. So he's taken over the our natural grass playing surfaces, and he's partnered with an outside company to really make them look and function really well. So we will have, mark my words, we will have the nicest natural grass playing surfaces in the state. I mean, it's going to rival Mississippi State, the way they look and the way they play. We put a lot of money, invested a lot of funds into fixing them last summer. So this year we're going to see the fruition of all those funds and that hard work into those natural grass facilities. You look at baseball and softball outfields and the football field and the soccer field, and they're super dark green right now, and they're smooth as carpet. So they look really good. To your NIL question, thankfully, that has not trickled down to community college like it has at the different levels. We don't have NIL partnerships like you see at Ole Miss and Mississippi State, at Hinds or any other community college in the state or around the country. If you look at NIL deals, there are not a lot of them that are millions and millions of dollars, especially even if you go all the way to the top in the Power Five or the Power Four, as they are now. Um, a lot of it is here and there money that students get for different advertising. So you advertise for a chicken place and you get free chicken, or $50 or $100 here and there. So it's really those type of deals that kids are getting, which is great. It's great for those kids to get those little things that can help them almost raise some money to help offset some costs that they have throughout the year. So we encourage kids to do those things. The NJCAA has a partnership with a company called Oborse, which is an NIL platform or sign up on their own. And Windows tracks everything for them, taxes for them, helps them do everything that they need to. They can advertise them, and businesses can go and look for certain student athletes if they need to. That way, we don't have to do any of that on our own. We encourage kids to go do it that way, so it takes kind of the burden off of us to keep track of all that stuff like bigger schools are having to do. So a lot of stuff that we see at this level, we've got a couple kids here that are just doing some, partnerships with equipment companies. I need a piece of equipment, I can't afford it. Hey, I'll exchange a good type of thing. We really don't have any big NIL aspirations here at the community college level. I don't think it's going to affect us like it will the higher levels. These kids that are playing at the JUCO level are just appreciative to have the opportunity to play the sport that they love, to continue on playing it after high school. So for them to kind of hold us hostage and say, well, you're going to have to pay me this much if I'm going to come there. Well, okay, I'm not paying you. I'll go find somebody else who really wants this spot, and we'll take them. That hasn't happened yet, but I foresee that, that might happen in the future. There's just really not an appetite for big NIL deals at the community college level. Not yet, at least.
Okay. With that, how have you seen in recruitment? I know you want to get the start, not just saying just the star players, the more attractive players that can help as a have successful athletic program, not just on the playing surface as well as in the classroom, have success in the community, have success in the stands, which means that they're bringing in revenue for athletics. How attractive are you guys, going after those ones that you look at and say, hey, this person is popularity? A lot of people go to their games, and even when the coaches go visit for recruiting, they turn around, look in the stands like, man, everybody's cheering this student athlete on. I wonder if they can bring that same type of crowd with them to the community college.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't think we're at that point yet in community college athletics to where we could bring in a star and really draw crowds to that one particular person. I think the only way that could happen is if we had a D1 bounce back that just chose to do that for some reason. Because if a high school kid that is that sought after, it's not going to go to community college. He's going to get his payday at one of the big schools, Alabama, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, one of those big schools. They're not going to come to community college unless they have to for grades or something like that. But I think the only way it would happen is if we had a D1 bounce back. We really focus on the opportunities. The NJCAA's slogan is "Opportunities start here," and that's really true for a lot of these kids that they get this opportunity to continue playing a sport they love when they may not have the chance to go do it at a four-year school because there's four-year schools are more picky about who they can and can't recruit. So they get the opportunity to do it at a really high level here at the community college route. So we really focus on giving those kids the opportunities. Recruiting has kind of changed a little bit in the last couple of years with NIL at the higher levels. It's the perception has kind of trickled down us. We don't offer or we can't offer those type of things for kids at this level. So they are sometimes confused about, well, why can't a community college pay me? Or they value themselves more than what they're actually worth, if that makes sense. Like, I'm a 5-star recruit. Well, no, you're really not. I deserve to get paid this much. Are you going to pay me to come to school at Hinds? Well, no, we're not. If you think you're worth that, then go ahead, test yourself on the open market, and they'll come to find out that they're not as good as they think they are. So we sometimes we have to dazzle them a little bit more than we have in the past with, some fancy recruiting days, some glitz and some glam, if you will, while they're here on campus doing a recruiting visit. Those are the type of things that we've had to change a little bit. I think every community college has had to do that a little bit, just because kids nowadays are more in tune with those things, the glamour aspect of recruiting, fancy cars. Not that they're going to get a fancy car, but I can have someone bring one in and you can take a picture in front of it. You're not getting that car, but you can post it on social media. Go for it. It's kind of the forward visual representation of what they want to promote on social media is pretty much what they're trying to do now in recruiting. So it's changed a little bit. Some of the older coaches are scratching their heads, going, I can't believe we have to do this to land a recruit. It's much different than how it used to be. Used to be we could bring mom and dad and the kid on campus, and we'd spend a lot of time with mom and dad telling them, hey, this is how we're going to change your young man into a grown man. We're going to teach him things. We're going to invest in him to where he is a better husband and a good father when he gets older. And nowadays, kids don't care about that anymore. They want to know, am I going to get playing time? How good am I going to look when I'm playing? What kind of free gear am I going to get? And mom and dad have kind of taken a back seat to recruiting now, and they let their kid ask those questions instead of mom asking, what are you gonna teach my son? How are you gonna help him become a man? So those are the things that have started to change that are a lot different than how they used to be.
Yeah. Okay. Now, and I know we're talking about mom and dad and their son. How has female sports changed here at Hinds? Now, has it, like I said, with the success of the softball program? Now, I can't say too much about track because track and field that's a monster in itself. But they've had successful programs in track and field. How has the female sports, the women's sports, changed here at Hinds?
They have gotten they've gotten really competitive. I think female sports across the board have gotten more competitive. Um, and I say that in that just the way they play has gotten tougher, and the the work that they put in has gotten more substantial. So it's really fun to watch these female sports, these teams play, because softball is really good. Women's soccer is going to be really good. Basketball has made improvements tremendously over the last couple of years in how they play and how competitive they are. Tennis is the same way. And then you've got track and cheerleading that they've gotten more competitive. They've gotten to see. There's really been a good push in the last couple of years of promoting women's sports and making them where they should be. They should be respected. They should be given the attention that they deserve, because these young females put a lot into. They put just as much into their sport that the males do. So it's high time we give them the respect that they deserve. So and they're really competitive. Like, you look at in Division II softball, national champion is usually going to be a Mississippi team. You look at track, the women's track team is nationally ranked in the top 10 every year. Um, Women's tennis is usually a Mississippi team that wins. Basketball, Pearl River, Gulf Coast, all those teams are always in the contention at the national level. So I think that women's sports, they've gotten the attention that are starting to get that they should have gotten a long time ago. So it's good for them.
Now, I know I've seen a lot of institutions now are incorporating flag football for women
Mm-hmm.
because I've seen an increase of contact tackle football for women professionally
Yeah.
at a professional level. Do you foresee Hines going in that direction with flag football, or even I've seen some junior colleges, well, I'm saying junior college, community college here in Mississippi add on volleyball now.
Yeah.
Do you foresee Hinds going in a direction like that, or you sit down with the administration, talk about, say, let's try this, or let's take a stab at it more recreational wise to see, was it, is it called club sport, to see
Yeah.
the interest or anything
Yeah.
that were of that nature?
Yeah. There's always an interest from my perspective to give more opportunities to kids to play a sport they love. I mean, you can even the NJCAA sponsors uh, all kinds of different sports. They've got bowling, they've got wrestling, they've got swimming and diving, um, sport shooting. Sport shooting has been on my radar for a long time, just given the area that we live in. Hunting is huge.
Yes.
Everybody's got hunting material and equipment. So adding a sport like that would be a no-brainer. It's just there's a lot that goes into adding a sport. There's budget, budgetary considerations that you've got to think about. There's facility considerations you got to think about. Operational considerations like uniforms, equipment, things like that. Volleyball is gaining steam. I came from a school in Missouri that was a perennial volleyball powerhouse. And then I went to Kansas, where we had a volleyball team out there, and Kansas teams were always a powerhouse in Division I volleyball. I love volleyball. It's a very fun sport to watch. There are a lot of schools in Mississippi that are adding it. I would love to add it, but there's considerations that we've got to think about, especially at Hinds. There's really right now nowhere to put it. We don't have a gym here. The gym in Utica is not set up for volleyball. So there are facility considerations that we've got to think about before we just add a sport. Got to find a good coach. You got to find the resources to have scholarships, resources to fund them with equipment and jerseys and practice gear, things like that. So it's a process. I do get a lot of questions about volleyball. Why haven't we added volleyball? Trust me, Dr. Vasek and I have had those conversations a lot about, hey, this is an upcoming sport. Do we want to add it? We both like to add it, but we've got to take those things into consideration about not just flippantly adding a sport just to add a sport, but to really do it strategically to where it benefits the college and has a good return on its investment.
Now, in reference to that, I know we talk about Utica, the way the campus is set up is mainly for basketball. And speaking of updates to the kids, I know that you already did the gymnasium. I know I haven't been personally, physically there yet, but I've seen pictures of it. I've seen clips of from the basketball games. What inspired that? Because I know the floor is shiny, and I saw even the basketball team has traveled here to Jackson to practice a few times at a gym when I was visiting. How has that made change with the basketball program or the community in Utica with the updates to the basketball gymnasium?
Well, I think they redid the basketball floor and a lot of the bleachers. They did that before I got here. So when I came in, it's a beautiful facility. It's big, it's open, it's got great offices, locker rooms. It's a great facility, logistically and operationally, to run a basketball game. Basketball, they live in that gym. Coaches live in that gym. Not literally, but they're there all the time. I don't want anybody to see this and think, oh, everybody's living in the gym, but they're not. It's just basketball is a big part of that campus, and I understand that. It's important for that community. It's important for that campus to have that kind of activity down there. I would like the community to be able to support them a little more during basketball season. I'd love to pack that gym out because it's so big and it's so open. I hate when it's not full. It just kind of gives this aura of, where is everybody? Now that basketball is playing on the same night, girls play and the guys play on the same nights. This next season, they did that this year. Helped attendance a little bit, but it's. I think there's an opportunity for a lot of people that love college basketball because it's good college basketball. It's not bad to watch. They're really talented, no matter who they play. Especially when you have East Mississippi come into town, it's always a good game. It's always, I got to be watching, making sure nobody's running out from the bleachers or anything. Um, they're always good games. So I encourage people to come out and watch them next year and really support them because they need the support. If we're going to continue to have basketball down there, which we have no plans of taking it anywhere. Um, we really need the support of the community. We need the support of the people on the campus, which they have, but from the local community, not even just Utica, but you go to Learned, to Terry, to Crystal Springs. If you want to come watch a good basketball game, go to Utica on a Monday or Thursday night, and you'll get a really good college basketball game in a really good college basketball facility.
Now, I know community college basketball in Mississippi has increased. Like you stated, you have some of Pearl River Jones. Speaking just on the female side, they've made a lot of noise
Mm-hmm.
in the playoffs, as well as Homes. Is it Northeast? I'm
Northeast
looking
is
at,
always
yeah,
good at men's basketball.
yeah, Northeast
Holmes,
and
Jones, Pearl River, Ben. Both sides are always good.
yeah. And I know they've made a lot of noise in reference to making differences in basketball, and their athletes have gone off to be productive at 4-year institutions. Some had opportunity to even go play professional. So, with the turnaround of community college basketball in Mississippi, what is something that you feel that could, like I said, go ahead and take it up a notch, especially at Hinds, and the support, definitely support of the community and the campus in Raymond, the campus in Warren County can definitely take Hinds basketball up a notch.
That's a good question. I think, specifically speaking about Hinds basketball, what could take them to another level is the support. Is the support they get from outside the campus. Uh, we try to we try to bus kids from Raymond to Utica on basketball nights. Sometimes, most of the time we can do it. Sometimes it just get conflict where we can't get kids to come. It's a difficult situation to have basketball on a different campus, whereas most of the people that live on residence campuses here in Raymond. So that's where most of your residence population is in Raymond. So it's hard to get them to go down to Utica to watch basketball. Um, but I think if we could if we could get some support, more support from the local community in that area, packing that gym out, really showing these young men and women that we enjoy watching them play basketball. We're here for them to help them grow, not just in basketball, but also in academics and their lives. Can really help. I mean, when you get that gym packed out, you get the band down there, and you have a good basketball game. It really makes a difference, and they play better. So when they play better, their record will be better. So I think if we could nail down some good recruits, and it's hard at the 2 year level because you got to reproduce and recruit every year because these kids are a lot of them are only staying for a year because they come in with so much dual enrollment. Uh, they don't have the opportunity to stay 2 years. They've got to here for a year, then they've got to transfer out because they're out of classes, they're out of hours. They've hit that, they graduate and can't come back, which is good. But for competitive athletics, it makes it hard on the coaches to have to recruit a new roster every year.
And with that, the turnover, because that has increased a lot. I know a lot of students that dual credit and they come here
you stayed where you were and you worked harder to earn that starting spot. And if you didn't, you were okay with it because you tried and made yourself better. Now it's just, if I'm not starting, no, I'm transferring somewhere else. Somewhere else, to somewhere that can sell me the product of, hey, come here, you'll play. Then they go to that school and they don't play. Okay, well, I'm transferring again. So you're 3 years in 3 different schools. But I'll get off my soapbox now.
I said I had a conversation with some current high school athletes and tell them, say, don't look at them, hey, don't sign with this school and then you end up transferring. Don't just look at the program, hey, it's a major program recruiting me, hey, I'm gonna go sign with them, then a year later or half the season you want to transfer into your transfer portal. And don't go to schools mainly because of the coach, because the way that these coaching changing, just like athletes in transfer portal. Coach can be there, recruit you, be there for one good year, and then they end up leaving. Either they're terminated, or they're going for a better position, or they got another opportunity, or it's something.
Yeah.
So don't just look at the school because of the coach. Look at it because of you want to help make a difference in the program, or I have history with the school. Now, and in reference to individuals select the school. Now let's talk about some of the alumni here at Hinds. I know you guys just had an introduction to some Hall of Fames, and you got this event coming up, another fundraising event that is coming up. Definitely like you to share about. Like I said, this is going to your 3rd year. This is the 3rd year for the event. Go ahead and tell us about the upcoming event, fundraising event.
Yeah, let's talk about the golf tournament. The golf tournament, it's our golf outing. Like you said, it's the 3rd year for it. It's on Friday, May 31st. So we've moved it to the end of May to get it out of April. April is just a super busy time for spring sports, baseball, softball. Then you've got all the rain that happens, and
April showers.
We had to reschedule it last year. It was scheduled in April, so we moved it to, I think, June 1st, and it really worked out better around that last weekend in May. So we're going to keep it there. We've also made it a 2-man scramble. The previous years it's been a 4-man scramble, so we've lowered the team amount to two-person teams to encourage people to just go out and find a partner. Go out and find you and your buddy. Go find your buddy, sign up, play as a team. It's easier to find one other person than 3 other people, I think. So we've changed it to a 2-man scramble. Registration is $200 for a team, so it's still $100 a person. $250 to sponsor a hole. We've already got about 10 to 15 hole sponsors. We've got a title sponsor on board already. It's Southern Equipment Company and James Knight. James Knight is an alumni of Hinds Community College. Played football back for Coach Graham back in the late 70s. He's a super nice guy. Love him to death. He's from Utica, actually. Still lives down there. He owns an equipment company, and he's been super awesome about being a good supporter of Hinds Athletics, and he's been a title sponsor for the golf tournament since year 1. So we want to thank him and Southern Equipment Company for being the first title sponsor. You said we had our Mississippi Community and Junior College Sports Hall of Fame induction last week. It was last Tuesday. Our inductee into that was Zach Crockett. Played football for Coach Murphy back in the early 90s. I got his picture up on the wall. I found that in the closet, so I had to hang it up there. I've also got his trophy from the award presentation. He wasn't present, so I got to keep it. It's sitting on my desk.
Okay.
Zach, you're going to have to come get it. Zach played for the Raiders. Really redefined what a running back and fullback was, kind of that H-back position. So he went into the Hall of Fame. We've got a lot of alumni that are kind of untapped. The foundation and I, Matt Jones, who's the executive director of the Hinds Foundation, and me, we're really putting an emphasis this next couple of years on reconnecting with alumni, especially athletic alumni, and getting them reconnected, getting their information. Uh, there's a way on the website, the athletic website, to fill out a little form that you can update your alumni information. I collect that information. I share it with the foundation. That way we can keep in touch. We can give people updates about things that are happening, updates about facilities, and updates about needs. You know what we need to stay relevant here at Hinds Community College. We've got a lot of facilities that are getting fixed that have been updated, but there's a lot we can still do. Uh, one of the things that we're going to fundraise for at this golf tournament is we're going to really push to raise money for the turf that's going in the indoor facility. So if anybody remembers where the old pool was in Mayo Field House, it's been filled in with dirt and concrete. It's been leveled off. They have removed the ceiling. They've painted it, installed fans, installed new lights, LED lights, new heaters, fixed all the garage doors, redid the offices down there, cleared everything out. It's so nice in there now. And our last step that we've got to do is we've got to put turf down for an indoor practice facility and an indoor multi-purpose facility. So we'll use it for practice most of the time, but then we'll rent it out to outside entities that want to have events. We'll have a lot of our events in there. So like our baseball first pitch dinner, our soccer kickoff dinner will all be in that facility instead of the gym. So it's just going to allow all these student athletes and coaches to have practices 24 hours a day. You go in there, flip on the lights, go. Coach Williams can wake them up at 10 o'clock at night, flip on the lights, go in there and run sprints. So
now I know the student athletes will like that, the opportunity to turn on the lights, but I know they're not going to like it at 10 o'clock at night to turn on the light.
They'll still be awake at 10 o'clock at night.
But no, if you want to learn more information about the annual golf outing, the website, you can log on to Hinds website, hindscc.edu, and that will take you to the main website. And as you can follow on the different tabs, go to athletics, and then one of the main banners, scrolling banners, is about the annual golf outing, which is May 31st, and it has a QR code that you can highlight it, and I guess you go ahead and register that way.
Yep.
Like I said, it will take place at Eagle Ridge, and that's right across the highway of the campus. It's a nice golf course. I go out there a few times and hit a few golf balls. Now, Coach Nate, I would sign up for it, but you're gonna have to make sure you get some extra insurance because when I hit the ball, sometimes it slices to the. Hold up, let me see. I'm trying to remember when I was hitting that, it was going towards the driveway. So yeah, it was sliced to the right.
Yeah.
My golf ball, so I had to turn a certain way.
Yep.
So I can hit the golf ball straight.
But I'm not playing in that tournament. I'll let Andrew Dunn play. He's a much better golfer than I am. He'll be the designee for the athletic department playing with his dad. So I play golf maybe once or twice a year. I will gladly stay back and eat the delicious food that we're going to have, and then schmooze with people. Just get to talk to people. That way, I don't have to worry about going out there and trying to golf and do well. So, but if it's a fun day, it's a fun time to reconnect with coaches and student athletes. We'll have all our coaches out there. We'll have some student athletes out there helping. There will be different competitions on some different holes, like closest to the pin, longest drive. We're going to have a new one this year on one of the holes where you can pay to move up and hit your tee shot so you can get a little closer, maybe get a better score. We'll have whole prizes for best score, lowest score. We'll have some raffle prizes. We'll have a silent auction again. So it's a good time to get out and support Hinds Athletics at that event, and we're going to really push to raise the funds to finish off that indoor.
Now, in reference to raising funds, now I know sometimes you may go to individuals and say, "Hey, could you donate, write a check, whatsoever?" That is good. Some people, depending on their schedule, they say, "Hey, I can write a check on what is earmarked for." do you allow any alumni to come back and say, hey, what's your thought about this to help raise fund? Hey, let's try this. I know this person. This is what they've done at their particular institution. Hey, can we try this here? Do you welcome that to come back and help raise funds for athletic and say, hey, hey, can you write me a check?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I want all alumni to come back and come in this office and sit down and talk about their experience here, how great it was, the people they got to know here. I want to know about those stories. I want to hear those things from alumni, and then I'll challenge the alumni to give back. If you can give back $5 a year, outstanding. Every little bit helps at the community college level. People think that I can't make a difference with $1 a week or $100 a year or $1,000 a year. They assume that I will only take a check for $50,000 or I want a check for $1 million. No, I mean that very rarely, if ever, happens. It's the cumulative effect of getting 1,000 alumni to give $100 a year. That's where the impact is going to be. So that's where we get the impact fund from, which is our annual giving fund, where we encourage individuals to go and lock up a commitment. Whether it's $500 a year, $50 a year, I don't care. Commit to it, and then over the course of time, we can really build up the impact fund to where it can make a huge impact on these kids. If we can we're the largest community college in the state, one of the biggest in the South. And we've got so many alumni that we can't even keep track of them all. If we had all of them donate $1, we could fund everything we need. It doesn't. Yes, I would like someone to come write me $1 million check. That would be outstanding. But if 10,000 of our alumni gave $5, I mean, that's math I can't do in my head. That makes an impact. So we encourage alumni to come back, and I take all ideas that we can do. I encourage individuals to give to the impact fund, lock up a commitment annually. I encourage businesses, if there's a business, big or small, we've got packages, advertising packages for large businesses, and we've got the small business partnership where $500 a year for a small business gets you some perks that you can brag about.
Yeah. All right. Well, now Hinds has 135 plus titles, so you know that they've been making a great impact here in the community. And even just speaking of Raymond itself, the success that Raymond, the city of Raymond, has athletically. High school just won the basketball championship.
Yeah.
Terry is part of Hinds County as well. They have successful programs. We have the city schools in as well as Clinton as yeah, that's the main schools there. And just speaking of just in Hinds County, then the success that the schools have in Rankin County and the success that schools have in Warren County, not just the public schools as well as the private schools. So there's a lot of success going on within Hinds County that can come down here and help support Hinds. So they have a wide variety of diverse culture of scholar athletes from your private sector, your public sectors, your homeschool, all different type of individuals here on the campus of Hinds. So definitely come on out and be a part of like Coach said. No, they definitely want you to come out to the golf outing. It's a fundraiser to help improve the facility here at Hinds, athletically wise, the athletic facilities. Now, if you're coming through here, Main Street off of Highway 18, and you're traveling through, just be mindful. Yes, you may see some dirt. I've always stated wherever you see dirt, there's progress. Somebody making some progress somewhere. Now, it may not. Sometimes it may just kind of put a hindrance on your travel schedule. Just leave early. Though travel safely, because though construction workers out there, like you stated, they have families too that they want to go home to as well. So definitely be safe if you're coming through Hinds and come visit the campus. They're making a lot of improvement. Have great community. Have restaurants around, and in the small towns they have the grocery store. They're gonna have that one cook in that store that knows how to throw down. And yes, they do have it here in Raymond because I go visit sometime myself too. So
Market.
I know y'all talking about me. Said why you always around food? Because I travel a lot around different food. That's why I enjoy my show. It's called More on the Road. So I'm traveling around and I'm visiting a lot of restaurants and I'm doing a lot of eating. But I do work out now, so I don't think that I'm just sitting here eating all the food and getting fat. But Coach Nate, is there anything else that you would definitely like to share before we're going to get out here about Hinds Community College?
No, just thanks for coming by and letting me talk. It's always a good conversation that we have. Just encourage people to come to the golf outing on May 31st. Find me, and we can talk more about ways people can support these student athletes. I encourage a follow on social media, Twitter and Facebook, or X and Facebook, to follow what baseball and softball are going to be doing this weekend. We've got a golfer going to the national tournament. We've got tennis tournament. And track is going to go to their national meet. All that happening in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So follow us on social media. Really support these kids. They deserve it.
All right, well, Coach Nate, I really do appreciate your time. Like I said, now I'm finna go find somebody at a restaurant to go eat at right now. Add on some extra weight, then I'm gonna hit the gym in the morning or later this afternoon. So I don't think that I'm just sitting here putting on weight. No, I am not. But you know how we always say, much love to you guys. See you guys around. Thank you for tuning in. You know how we end out. 1 + 1 = deuces.